The real prison of life is not walls, but thoughts. If you know who you are, change your thinking, and connect every step to your goal, no force can limit you. Starting today, you can rewrite your story and break your limits. Ladies and gentlemen, every human being is born with potential that far exceeds their current reality. Yet many live beneath their true capacity because of mental, emotional, or cultural limitations. Today, we are exploring how to reinvent yourself and break every limitation that has tried to define you. The first and most foundational principle of reinvention is identity awareness. Before you can change your life, you must understand who you truly are. Many people try to improve their circumstances or build new habits without ever examining the person behind those actions. They change their environment but never change their self-concept, and so the old patterns keep returning. Identity is the root from which all behavior grows. If the root is unclear, the fruit will always be inconsistent. This is why every transformation begins not with what you do, but with what you discover about yourself. Identity awareness is not the same as job title, nationality, family name, or even personal achievements. These are expressions of who you are, but they are not your core. To reinvent yourself, you must strip away the labels and ask deeper questions. Who am I when no one is watching? What natural strengths have always been with me since childhood? What values stir my heart? When you begin to answer these questions honestly, you start to see a clearer picture of the person inside you, the one who existed before circumstances shaped you. Most people underestimate how much their current identity is borrowed. Family traditions, cultural expectations, past failures, and social media comparisons all contribute to an identity that might not actually be yours. You may be living out someone else's script without realizing it. If you grew up hearing that you were average, you may carry a self-image of limitation even though your potential is extraordinary. Identity awareness means examining these inherited beliefs and asking, does this define me, or did I simply accept it? This kind of self-thought, it is uncomfortable, but it is the beginning of freedom. Once you begin to see your authentic self, you start noticing patterns. You may realize that certain jobs drain you, while others energize you because of your natural wiring. You may find that your strengths have been visible all along in the hobbies you love or the problems you solve easily. This awareness helps you make better decisions about your future. Reinvention stops being random and becomes intentional. You are no longer trying to escape your old life. You are stepping into the life that matches who you really are. Identity awareness also brings clarity about your limitations. Some limitations are external, laws, finances, time, but many are self-imposed. When you understand your true identity, you can separate real obstacles from imagined ones. For example, someone who sees themselves as bad at business may avoid opportunities that require leadership. Yet the truth might be that they have never learned the skills but have the natural aptitude. By seeing yourself accurately, you stop mislabeling your potential and begin addressing weaknesses directly instead of accepting them as permanent. Another dimension of identity awareness is recognizing your values and purpose. Your values act like an internal compass, guiding your choices. Without this compass, reinvention can lead to confusion, becoming someone you're not simply to gain approval or success. But when you know your values, you can reinvent yourself without losing yourself. You can build new skills, adopt new habits, and enter new arenas while staying anchored to what matters most. This alignment creates confidence and stability even in seasons of change. Practical steps help develop this awareness. Set aside time for reflection, away from noise and distraction. Journal your experiences, noting what energizes you and what depletes you. Ask trusted mentors or friends what strengths they consistently see in you. Review the significant moments of your life, both successes and failures, and look for common threads. These exercises help you separate your authentic self from the roles you've been playing. As you grow in identity awareness, a powerful shift occurs. You stop trying to become someone else and start becoming more fully yourself. Reinvention is not about discarding who you are. It is about shedding the false layers so the real you can emerge. This is why people who truly reinvent themselves often describe it as coming home, rather than running away. They feel lighter, clearer, and more purposeful because their outer life finally matches their inner reality. Identity awareness is the seed from which every other keynote grows. Without it, renewed thinking, strategic action, and purpose alignment become shallow exercises. With it, you gain a foundation strong enough to support any transformation you choose. When you truly know who you are, you stop negotiating with limitations. You stop waiting for permission to change. You begin to design your life from a position of clarity and strength. This is the first and most crucial step toward breaking every limitation and becoming the person you were always meant to be. The second keynote is the renewal of your thinking, because every visible limitation begins as an invisible belief. Before a wall appears in your life, it is first built in your mind. The most powerful prisons are not made of steel or concrete, but of ideas. A person can be physically free yet mentally confined by assumptions, fears, and inherited mindsets. If you desire to break limitations, you cannot start only with external change. You must go deeper and renew how you think, what you believe, and how you interpret your experiences. From childhood, we absorb thousands of messages about what is possible and what is not. These messages come from parents, teachers, religious institutions, culture, and media. Some of these lessons are helpful, but many are restrictive. Without realizing it, we begin to live inside a mental framework built by someone else. We may assume we cannot succeed in a certain field because no one from our background has done it. We may believe certain incomes, relationships, or lifestyles are out of our league, simply because they are unfamiliar. All of these assumptions form a mental ceiling. Renewal of thinking is the process of dismantling that ceiling so your mind can expand beyond inherited limits. Renewal does not mean rejecting every belief. It means testing them. Ask yourself, where did this thought come from? Is it based on evidence or fear? Does it serve my future or keep me tied to my past? These questions shift you from passive acceptance to active evaluation. When you challenge your own thinking, you create space for new possibilities. You stop being a victim of old programming and start becoming the author of new mental scripts. This is why education, reading, and exposing yourself to new ideas are essential to transformation. They stretch your mental boundaries and show you what is possible. This process requires humility because you must admit that some of your current beliefs may be wrong. Many people hold tightly to limiting ideas because those ideas feel safe and familiar. They would rather defend their limitations than risk the discomfort of change. But to renew your thinking, you must value growth over comfort. You must be willing to let go of old conclusions even if they have defined you for years. It is like renovating a house. You cannot install new wiring while clinging to outdated circuits. The old must be examined, and some of it must be removed. Renewal of thinking also involves replacing negative self-talk with empowering truth. Every day your mind runs an internal dialogue. If that dialogue is full of doubt, criticism, and fear, you will unconsciously sabotage your own progress. Start listening to the words you use about yourself. Do you say, "I always fail"? "I'm not good enough"? "This is too hard"? These statements are not harmless. They are self-fulfilling. Rewriting your internal language is not about blind positivity. It is about aligning your speech with your real potential. Replace "I can't" with "I'm learning". Replace "this is impossible" with "this is unfamiliar but achievable". Small shifts in language create big shifts in mindset over time. Another aspect of renewing your thinking is expanding your perspective. If you only interact with people who think like you, your mental world stays small. Seek out conversations, books, and experiences that challenge your assumptions. Travel, mentorship, or volunteering can expose you to different ways of living and solving problems. Each new perspective adds another window to your mental house, letting in more light. With a broader view, problems that once felt insurmountable begin to look solvable. It is also important to understand that renewing your thinking is a continuous process, not a single event. Just as dust collects on a clean surface, limiting beliefs can creep back into your mind through daily stresses and negative influences. Make mental renewal a habit. Read uplifting material, spend time with forward-thinking people, and regularly reflect on your goals and progress. Protect your mind as you would protect valuable property, because your future depends on the quality of your thoughts. As your thinking renews, you will notice changes in your behavior without forcing them. You will begin to take risks you previously avoided, pursue opportunities you once ignored, and handle setbacks with resilience instead of despair. Your outer life is simply a reflection of your inner life. When the inner expands, the outer follows. People may say you have changed, but in reality you have simply stopped living under the weight of old ideas. Renewing your thinking does not guarantee an easy path, but it does guarantee a larger one. You will still face obstacles, but you will no longer be intimidated by them. Instead of saying, "Why me?" you will start asking, "What can I learn here?" Instead of shrinking, you will grow. Over time, your renewed mind will become your greatest asset, guiding you through reinvention after reinvention. This is how you break limitations at their source, by transforming the invisible beliefs that shape your visible reality. Strategic action is the bridge between who you are now and who you desire to become. Reinvention is never accidental. It is the outcome of deliberate, organized steps taken consistently over time. Many people get excited after recognizing their true identity and renewing their thinking, but they stall because they treat transformation like a wish rather than a plan. They hope for change but do not structure their lives to support it. Strategic action means you stop waiting for a miracle and start designing your daily habits, environment, and choices to create the future you have envisioned. The first dimension of strategic action is clarity. You cannot build a bridge to an unclear destination. Once you see who you are and begin thinking differently, you must define what the new version of yourself looks like in practical terms. Ask yourself, what skills does that version possess? What habits do they practice? What kind of people surround them? Write these elements down. Clarity turns a vague dream into a tangible target. Without it, your actions will be scattered and your reinvention inconsistent. After clarity comes planning. A plan is simply a roadmap that breaks a large transformation into manageable steps. If you want to start a business, which books or courses will you complete first? Which skills must you acquire in the next 3 months? What daily practices will move you forward? Strategic action does not necessarily mean huge leaps. It often means small, consistent steps taken in a deliberate order. Many people underestimate how powerful small changes can be when they accumulate over time. They try to overhaul their entire life in 1 week, fail, and conclude that reinvention is impossible. Strategic action teaches patience and process, embracing the idea that steady progress is faster than reckless enthusiasm. Another essential part of strategic action is prioritization. Not all activities have equal power to move you forward. Some are busy work, others are breakthroughs. Learn to identify the few high-impact actions that will produce the greatest results and focus your energy there. For instance, if your goal is to change careers, sending one tailored application to a high-potential company might be more effective than sending 20 generic applications everywhere. If your goal is to improve health, adopting one sustainable habit, like walking every morning, might transform your energy more than following an extreme diet for a week. Strategic action means concentrating effort where it matters most. Accountability also strengthens strategic action. Share your goals with a trusted friend, mentor, or community who will encourage you and hold you responsible. External support multiplies internal discipline. Without accountability, it is easy to slip back into old routines when motivation fades. With accountability, you create a system that keeps you moving even on difficult days. This is why successful people build networks, find mentors, or join groups aligned with their goals. They know transformation is easier when shared. Environment plays a quiet but powerful role in strategic action. You cannot plant a seed in concrete and expect it to grow. Likewise, you cannot reinvent yourself in an environment that constantly reinforces your old habits and identity. Evaluate the spaces you spend time in, the media you consume, and the people you associate with. Do they align with your future or anchor you to your past? Strategic action sometimes requires changing your surroundings to match your new direction, even if it feels uncomfortable. Measurement is another critical element. You cannot improve what you do not track. Set measurable milestones so you can see your progress. Celebrate small wins. They build momentum and confidence. When something is not working, adjust your plan rather than abandoning it. This mindset turns setbacks into feedback instead of final judgments. Over time, these adjustments fine-tune your strategy and accelerate your growth. Finally, strategic action requires perseverance. No plan is perfect, and no path is free from obstacles. There will be days when you feel as if nothing is changing, but consistency compounds. The habits you practice today become the foundation for tomorrow's breakthroughs. The courage you show in small decisions today prepares you for bigger decisions later. When you remain faithful to your plan, even imperfectly, you transform reinvention from a concept into a lifestyle. Strategic action is not about perfection but alignment. Aligning your daily choices with your renewed thinking and authentic identity. When you do this, your life begins to shift in visible, measurable ways. People may attribute your success to luck, but you will know it was built through deliberate steps. Reinvention becomes less about one day and more about today. With clarity, planning, prioritization, accountability, supportive environments, measurement, and perseverance, you create a pathway from your current self to your future self. This is the practical heart of breaking limitations, taking the right actions at the right time for the right reasons until change becomes inevitable. Purpose alignment is the element of reinvention that gives everything else meaning and stability. It is possible to know who you are, to renew your thinking, and even to take strategic action, yet still feel lost or unsatisfied because your efforts are not connected to a deeper why. Without purpose, reinvention can become a cycle of trying on new identities without ever arriving at fulfillment. You may climb ladders only to realize they are leaning against the wrong wall. Purpose alignment solves this by ensuring that the person you are becoming matches the reason you exist. Purpose alignment begins with understanding that every person carries a unique contribution to make. It may not always be a grand or public mission. Sometimes it is expressed in how you build a family, create art, serve a community, or solve a specific problem. Whatever form it takes, purpose is the inner compass that points you toward activities and environments where you feel most alive and effective. When your reinvention flows from this compass, your changes are not random experiments, but intentional steps toward a calling. Many people mistake goals for purpose. Goals are targets you set. Purpose is the underlying reason those targets matter. You can change goals many times throughout life, but your purpose remains consistent. For example, your purpose might be to empower others to grow. One season you may do that through teaching, another through business, another through mentoring. The activities shift, but the driving motive stays the same. Recognizing this distinction prevents you from feeling like a failure when plans change, because you understand that your deeper mission is still intact. Aligning with your purpose requires honest reflection. Ask yourself, What issues or needs stir my heart? What activities make me lose track of time because I am so engaged? What injustices frustrate me enough to want to act? What strengths have I consistently used to help others? These questions do not produce instant answers, but they open a dialogue between your inner life and your outer choices. Over time, patterns emerge. You begin to see the thread connecting your experiences and talents. That thread is a clue to your purpose. When you discover this thread, reinvention becomes more natural. Instead of forcing yourself into careers, habits, or relationships that look impressive but feel empty, you start designing a life that fits who you truly are. This alignment creates energy rather than drains it. Work feels meaningful rather than burdensome. Challenges feel like growth opportunities rather than punishments. Purpose gives you endurance because you know what you are fighting for. When obstacles appear, you are less likely to quit because you are not just chasing applause or comfort. You are pursuing something that resonates with your deepest values. Purpose alignment also acts as a filter for decisions. In a world full of options, it is easy to become distracted by trends or opportunities that look good but are not right for you. Without a clear filter, you may say yes to everything and end up diluted. When you are anchored in purpose, you can evaluate opportunities by asking, does this move me closer to my mission or further away? This question simplifies complex choices and protects you from wasting time on paths that do not fit your future. Another important effect of purpose alignment is integrity. Reinvention can sometimes tempt people to compromise their principles in the name of progress. They adopt habits or strategies that contradict their core values, thinking it is necessary to succeed. But when your reinvention flows from purpose, you build success without losing yourself. You attract opportunities and relationships that resonate with who you really are. This integrity produces trust within yourself and from others, and trust is a powerful currency in every arena of life. Aligning with purpose also requires patience. You may not see the full picture immediately. Sometimes you will need to take steps in faith, trying new roles or learning new skills while remaining attentive to how they connect with your deeper mission. Over time, clarity grows through movement. Just as a ship's rudder works only when the ship is in motion, your sense of direction sharpens as you act. Purpose alignment is not a one-time revelation, but a continuing process of checking your actions against your values and adjusting as you grow. Ultimately, purpose alignment transforms reinvention from a survival strategy into a fulfillment strategy. You are no longer just trying to escape limitations. You are moving toward a vision of life that expresses your highest potential. You reinvent not because you are lost, but because you are called. This shift in motivation changes everything. Your energy is steadier, your decisions clearer, your resilience stronger. Even setbacks become meaningful because you see them as part of a larger journey. When you live this way, breaking limitations becomes almost inevitable. External barriers may still arise, but they cannot outlast a person who is aligned with their purpose. You will find creative ways around them, through them, or beyond them because your motivation is deeper than comfort or recognition. You are guided by an inner compass that always points you back to what truly matters. This is why purpose alignment is the fourth and final pillar of reinvention. It turns a series of changes into a coherent life story, one where every step you take leads you closer to the person you were always meant to be. Every lasting transformation begins inside and then flows outward. You cannot build a new life on the foundation of an old self. By first discovering who you really are, you uncover the hidden potential that was always there. By renewing your thinking, you clear away the invisible ceilings that have kept you small. By taking strategic action, you build a bridge from vision to reality. And by aligning every step with your deeper purpose, you ensure that your reinvention is not just change for its own sake, but change that leads to fulfillment. This is not a one-time event, but a lifelong process. Each season of life will reveal new layers of your identity, challenge you to refresh your mindset, call you to plan and act differently, and invite you to check again whether your path still matches your purpose. The good news is that once you embrace this way of living, limitations lose their power, obstacles become lessons, fear becomes a signal to grow, progress becomes a habit rather than a hope. So as you leave here, remember, your future is not waiting for permission. It is waiting for you to rise, to think differently, to act intentionally, and to live purposefully. When you do, reinvention stops being a dream and becomes your new normal, and no limitation will be able to hold you back.